All right, again, good morning. Good morning to those of you who just came in. Somebody else is coming. All right, so we're going to be, hopefully, you've turned in your taxonomy worksheet. Got one more. Actually, we're missing two more. All righty. All right, good morning. Good morning. We're in Canvas. And we're going to start in Canvas, and then I'm going to, like I said, walk you through the gizmo that we're going to do today. But the taxonomy worksheet that you had from last week um, is due today. So, just in review, taxonomy is a system of naming, and we went through and we looked at, and I wanted you to make sure that you become familiar with the pyramid, because we're going to use that a lot. So if you haven't become familiar with it, become familiar. Like I said, in a little while, we're going to learn a nice little way to remember these in order. Um, but the thing that we break it down to when we're naming an organism is there by their genus and species name. So it's like having a first and last name, and it's kind of backwards because the the species name is more specific to the individual, whereas the genus name is kind of like the family name. Like if your last name was Johnson, and your first name was Kareem, it would be Johnson Kareem instead of Kareem Johnson, kind of thing. Okay, one more. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be looking at using a key today that isolates the genus and species name of an organism. Okay, so again, and you need to remember these rules as well. The genus name is always capitalized. The name in itself is always italicized, but the genus name is capitalized and the species name is in lowercase. It may also be underlined. So those are some rules that will help you with classification. All right, so again, make sure that you've gone through these activities and turned in that worksheet that was due today. So that won't be late if you turn it in today. And give me 1 minute to silence this. All right. Okay, so today we're doing dichotomous key. And a dichotomous key is a system where we can look at an organism and use two branches of clues. It's like a mystery activity where you decide how am I going to name this, and it gives you two things, and it's a system of steps that get you to the exact name by looking at the characteristics of the organisms. So a dichotomous scheme means a branch of two. It represents two choices in each step that identify the organism, much like a fork in the road. All right. This is actually this. Okay, we can watch this. It doesn't talk. It reads to you. So follow along. Quirky music, but it's not going to talk. It's kind of like what I just said. All right, so this part, and I'm gonna pause it for sometimes when I pause it, it disturbs the rhythm, but it is based on the characteristics of the organism. So in the activity that you're going to do today, you're going to be looking at a picture of an organism, and then you'll have two choices of statements. And it'll ask, does the organism have this or does it have this? And you're always going to say yes or no. If you say yes, then you go on to the next step. If you say no, then that's something that you will pass on. Okay, so like I said, you're going to start off with a broad description, something that's very obvious, and then eventually it will. So this is an example of what we call a couplet, the two statements. So it says the animal has a backbone, the animal doesn't have a backbone. So that's a broad statement. And then once you figure out which one it is, then it'll take you to the next one. So, um, so for example, this one says the animal with the backbone, it says go to number 2. If you went to number 2, then the animal has a fur, then it's a mammal. The animal without fur, they want you to go to step 3. If you go to step 3, you have to decide, does the animal have feathers? Then it's a bird. And notice the first one stops with an identification. If it's the second one, then it takes you to another step. Okay, and so the key keeps going on like that until you get to a name. Okay. All right, rules. You have to read both statements before you make a decision. If you don't understand what the term is, look it up. Okay, so they might, and the page that I'm giving you, I'm also giving you the vocabulary page with it. But normally the descriptions are pretty simplistic, at least in the activity that you're about to do. All right, if you are asked to measure something, don't guess, actually measure it. In this activity, is a measuring gauge, so you actually have to look at the gauge in order to see how big or small the stem is on the plant. If you're unsure which choice to follow on both paths, see see where it takes you, and if it doesn't fit, then you can go back. Okay, if it doesn't end up where you think it should be, and in this particular activity, it'll tell you you're wrong, so you'll have to go back. So if you make a wrong choice, you'll know. All right, so then write down the order of steps you took and then double check your work. All right, so we are going to, I'm going to let you read this over later. So what I want you to do right now is go to your home page. I want you to click on dichotomous key as your activity. And then your first one is the actual worksheet. So you want to download that. Then you have vocabulary words at the top. So when you download the second one, that's just a list of the meanings of the vocabulary words. Okay. So we are looking for the scientific name. Actually, they're going to give you both. So common name is what people in the local areas will call that organism, but we're specifically looking to figure out what is the scientific name. And you're going to have a group of organisms, and they'll all have, like I said, a family name. It's the second name that will make them distinct. Okay. So the objective is to identify both the genus and species name of the organisms that you're looking at. So that's just a vocabulary list, but you want to have this one downloaded so that you can fill in blanks. So download it so that you can write on it, because this is what you're going to send back to me um, in the grade. All right, so then we want to go to Clever, and we want to go to Explore Learning. And it's going to be different for me than you because mine comes up as me. So yours, but you have been assigned, you have been assigned dichotomous key. It should come up like that. Launch it. All right, now they do have a quiz at the end, but do that at the end. Do not do that first. I don't need that until you're finished. And then you don't have to record that. It records in Explore Learning, so I'll take the score from that and add it to your worksheet score. And actually, I need to change the points on it now because there are 5 questions there. The worksheets where it's 25 and there are 5 questions there. So what I'll do is I'll change it to 30 and then let you know the breakdown of worksheet and quiz score for this activity. All right, so on your worksheet, the first thing it has, let me come back over here. All right, so the first thing it has on your worksheet is just to get you to think about things. It says as Jerome is walking through the park and when he sees a spider shown to the left, what should he do to find out what type of spider it is? So just give a general answer. What do you think you should do? Um, and I was sharing with the other class that nowadays they actually have an app. So if you walk up on a plant or an animal that you want to know what's it called, you can actually in the app just kind of like a scan barcode kind of thing. If you scan over it, it'll actually identify it for you. So I don't know the name of the app, but my daughter's done it before, where it will actually give you the name of the plant and give it scientific name and give you some background information about it as well. So that's, you can write that, or you can write that they could look it up in their science book, or there is a classification catalog so that you can do things like that. But the classification catalog would have you do what we're going to do today. Go through the steps of what does it look like? What characteristics does it have? And take you through a dichotomous key. So give a general answer to that statement there. All right, then in the warm up, in the field, scientists often identify an unfamiliar organism, living thing. A reliable way for organisms to identify organisms is to use a dichotomous key. A dichotomous key is a series of paired statements that lead to the identification of the organism. In this activity, you will have 5 different keys to go through. Actually, you must do 2. Those 2 are on the worksheet. And then I'm going to ask you to just pick one of the other ones of your choice to do as well. All right, so and they're going to begin with the California albatross. All right, you're going to read the 2 statements in the lower right. Which of the 2 statements more closely matches the bird in the picture? So let's look at Mr. Gizmo. All right, so this is what they're referring to. The California albatross, and it gives you some background information up here. And this is your organism A. He's also your example. So these 2 statements in the box down here are what they're asking you to look at. So we look at our bird, and the first one says a large area of the bird's body is covered in white feathers. Would you agree with that? Or, and remember, you're supposed to read both statements before making a decision. Most of the bird's body is covered in gray or black feathers. So which one would you pick? And you can type it in the chat. And I'm going to go through the first one. I'm going to go through the first 2 with you, actually. Which one would you pick? First or second? Come on, folks. Answer, talk to me. And sometimes it's easy just to unmute and say it rather than to try to type it. Okay, y'all ain't talking today. Landon, stay on camera. All right, we're gonna pick the first one. Thank you, Zayla. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so you click next. So you pick the first one and click next. Then we're gonna look at something else. The beak is mostly pink, yellow, or orange. The beak is gray with a yellow tip. Well, it's kind of pinkish. It's the tip. I think this one's the one that was, but notice down here, this one, if you pick the second one, it's going to try to name it for you. All right, so let's pick the first one and go on. All right, so that was a good pick. All right, so we picked that one. Then we want to look at the head. The head plumage is light yellow, or the head plumage is mostly white or all white? I would say it's mostly yellow. So we're going to pick that, and it's giving you a common name. When you hit next, it actually gives you the scientific name. Okay, so this is where you wanted to go. All right, so on your worksheet, you want to go ahead and answer these two questions here, and that one was for the demonstration. When you finish that, we're going to come back, and then we're going to go, so it wants you to look at organism B. So we're staying with the bird for right now, but we're going to come up here to this slider box and pick organism B. So now you have A through F. So you are going to go through all of these. So you're going to pick organism B. So he's still he's a cousin to the California albatross. And you're going to go through the same steps. Okay. And you're going to decide which one, read the couplet, decide which one is right. And then, so notice on the worksheet, they've already filled in the first one for you. You're working on the second one. So that the name of that one will go there. And then you're going to go through all through all of the characteristics, and notice each bird will change a little bit. So you're going to go through all of these and go through the couplets, and then you'll end up with a name that you'll fill in on the chart. All right, when you finish that one, okay, then you're going to go to the flowers. So then you'll come back, and up here where it says key, then you're going to pick the buttercup. Okay, so this one again has the ruler. So part of its description is going to be, is the stem long or short? Wanted to point out the leaf on this one because that confused the last group. This one actually has a spread. Let me do this one with you first. All right, so it's the flower is white petals or the flower is yellow petals. Obviously yellow petals. And we hit next. All right, the stem is greater than 20 centimeters or the stem is less than 20 centimeters. So if we're looking at this ruler off to the side and we see how long it is, we're going to the stem that goes to the flower at the top. So that's greater than 20 centimeters. So we'll click on that one. All right, the leaf has 3 or more spheres, or the leaf is rounded. So I know this looks like, it says 3 or more, it's got more, 3 or more. It's not rounded. So it's going to be the 3 or more. All right, the leaf has 5 spheres, or the leaf has 3 spheres. So if you come over here to the leaf, the big leaf that looks like your hand, it's got 5 branches and each of those has the 3 tips on it. So we want to click on that one. And then we've identified that one correctly. So you'll put that on the worksheet for the buttercup. Okay, so that's, and then you'll go through all of the organisms again for the flower. Okay, then you'll do evergreen, and then you'll do cartilaginous fish. Okay, so then it describes what to do. Okay. All right. So, any questions about what you need to do? I'm going to stop talking so that you can do it. All right, so everybody has downloaded. I'm going to check Go Guardian in a minute to make sure everybody's there. So everybody has downloaded their worksheet. Where did Landon go? That young man, I don't know. All right. So everybody should have downloaded the worksheet. Everybody should be logged into the Gizmo so that you can do this. Let me know if you have any problems whatsoever, if you are confused. And again, it should end up, it'll give you a check mark and tell you if you do it wrong. For example, I'm going to show you what happens if you do it wrong. And see, it'll tell you you're wrong. Okay, you have incorrectly identified the organism. So go back. All right. So you'll know whether you're doing it right or wrong. All righty. If there are no questions, I will stop sharing, do attendance. Um, again, they're asking us to do participation with you, not only checking Go Guardian, actually participating, but are you on camera? So please stay on camera. There's about 3 of y'all that have a tendency to have me looking at the ceiling. Please stay on camera and please stay engaged in the activity. All right. And again, a reminder too that if you haven't turned in the taxonomy worksheet, that was due today. This is going to be due, so you won't finish today. You will, so when you come in tomorrow, just go straight to this so we can get this done by tomorrow. Okay. All righty. Ariana, please do your gizmo. And folks, that's the other thing that I'm going to start looking at, that there's no point in giving late grace on late assignments if you were given time in class to do it and you chose to do something else. You're marked present, be present for the activity that's for the class that you're in. If you have trouble getting into Explore Learning, please let me know. Everybody should be on the roster. If you need me to go back and re-demonstrate something, please say so. And remember to read both statements before making a choice. When you get to the last page, let me pull it up. All right, when you get to the last page, this question number 2 says practice. Choose another key on the gizmo. Take screenshots of all the organisms included in the key, and then so you're going to make a separate um, Google page or a Word page and make a key that it could be used to identify these. So in other words, they want you the same thing that you would have done for this step 1, where they took a picture of all of the birds and then created a chart that you observed that separates them from one another. You are going to do the same thing with one of the other organisms. So you have a choice of it's your choice. It's your choice which one you want to do. So um, you can do the evergreens, and then you would go through and take a picture of all of the different evergreens. Although that one might not be as interesting, you could do the fish and then take a picture of all the different fish and line them up and then create your own two-step key that would be able to distinguish one fish from another. Okay, that, or I would pick the fish, or I don't know if you're into snakes, you could do snakes. I'm not fond of snakes, but that's up to you. Okay, so you would take a screenshot of each snake, put it at the top in the same way that this worksheet has taken a picture of for the birds. And again, you can just pick 4 of them. You don't have to do all of them. There's what, 6 of them. You don't have to do all of them. Just pick 4 samples of whatever organism you pick, and you are going to create a key like in steps C on this one for whichever organism you pick. Okay, so you're going to just take the 2 statements and it'll say go to step. So if this is step 1, if A is the correct answer, it says go to step 2. So then that'll be your next 2 statements. If B is the correct answer, it says go to 3, and you'll have 2 statements there. But the one of these should name the organism. Okay, so we're only doing 3 steps. So 2 should take you to say 2B can name an organism, if that's the case. But if it says go to step 3, one of those should actually name the organism. Okay. All right. So actually can name all of them actually. So you can A could name one and B could name the other. Okay. All right. Let me know if you have any questions about that. So again, on this last page, you want to take a screenshot of all the organisms. Again, you don't have to do all of them, do 4. And put them on a separate sheet of paper, and then make a new dichotomous key like this one up here. So 3 steps. And then attach that page with this document. Okay. So you're turning this worksheet in and your screenshot page. Any questions about that? All right, so like I said, I don't expect you to, we got 20 minutes left to class. Less than 20 minutes left to class. I don't expect you to finish it today, but when you come in tomorrow, you know exactly what you need to do. I'll have it up on the screen, but you want to finish the gizmo when you come to class tomorrow. And again, tomorrow you can worry about doing the assessment, but I will remind you tomorrow that everybody needs to do the assessment as well. There's this Gee, how did I know? All right, there's only a few more minutes left to class. Does anybody have any questions? Is everybody clear on what they have to do? All right, so again, you're turning in a worksheet, and a separate page where you created your own key based on one of the samples that you picked. And then you're going to go back after you've done all of that and do the assessment. Any questions? Any questions? All right, so we're going to finish this tomorrow. So if you have no questions for me, you are free to log out and we'll see you tomorrow.